Channel, some of the topics being discussed at Davos, in addition to artificial intelligence governance, which of course Donald Trump is bringing to the United States of America while playing the role of being opposed to the globalists at the World Economic Forum. He's literally bringing in their infrastructure. But one of the topics we hear year in and year out is being brought up again, and that is putting an end to online anonymity, which means that people will not be allowed to remain anonymous on the internet, which means the digital ID. Now, this is something that's obviously very important to me and should be very important to you. Now, it's important to me because I like to do what I do online and remain anonymous. I'm not looking for any attention. I'm not looking for people to show up at my front door. I'm not looking for anything other than getting the truth out, getting my opinion out, which most of the time is obviously truthful, as I've backed up over the years. Doesn't mean that I'm not wrong from time to time, but they're obviously hell-bent on this because they like and need and have to control the media, which of course includes the alt-right media. And you see the alt-right media shilling around, throwing their face on every billboard they can. Even some of the embarrassing things I've talked about with the Daily Wire, making Hollywood-like movies. This should be about getting the truth out. And if they can't control the truth, then that's a problem to them. They must control the narrative. And I'm going to play for you Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and this speech that he gave about being anonymous online. And this is how they work in the casual people out there, because they use words like crime. So people automatically think when they hear a speech like this, well, yeah, somebody could be online going after kids, being a predator on the internet, which of course they have no problem with because they can track your IP address. They do track and monitor us on the internet, but they want a digital ID overall. But they could remove all of these internet websites from the but they can't use their opinions or say their opinions online anymore because they're about to feel a massive censorship wave. Hate speech, of course, is anybody who questions the current government regime, who exposes the New World Order, or, of course, anybody who can influence public conversation is somebody who is going to be a target of people like Pedro Sanchez. Listen to his speech where he talks about one social media user ID, a full-on end to anonymity, and of course, nobody out there should be able to influence public conversation except, of course, for them and their controlled media, the left and the right, of course, included.
I propose putting an end to anonymity on social media. In our countries, no one can walk the streets with a mask on their face or drive a car without a license plate. No one can send packages without showing an ID or buy a hunting weapon without giving their name. And yet, we are allowing people to roam freely on social networks without linking their profiles to a real identity. This paving the way for misinformation, hate speech, and cyber harassment, because it is facilitating the use of bots, and it is allowing people to act without being held accountable for their actions.
I'm going to stop it there. I'm giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Hawachakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. I want to play a little bit of that. And I wanted to make a point. As 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter says, verse 7, it says, and even things without life-giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds, how shall it be known what is piped or harped? For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? I wanted to read that because it goes to show you that in this sensitive time that we're living in, whatever Israelite group you listen to, we should actually all be sounding the same. We should all be sounding the same. We should all be echoing the same sentiments, the same prophecies. Everything is going to be circulating to the book, the scriptures, the book of Revelation, primarily the 13th chapter, the 16th chapter, the 20th chapter, the 18th chapter. And no matter who you go and listen to, we should all sound the same thing, because as you can see, this is just one video that's being made. But as you know, since the new year started, especially since Trump got in office, which only been a few days, a lot of things are being passed, a lot of orders are being placed, a lot of things are happening and moving in motion at swift speeds. So this is the Lord sounding the alarm to his people to be prepared spiritually, to be prepared for what's coming down the pipe. And just know that by the end of this year, we even make it this year, right, Lord's will, it definitely won't be the same as it is today. So things can drastically change in the instant. And everything that is happening, I mean, literally everything that's happening is all in some way pointing towards prophecy. So like this video in particular is moving towards what? Persecution and the famine of the word that they're looking to do. Everything they're doing is pushing towards the prophecy to the end game. We're leading up to martial law. We're leading up to the RFID microchip. We're leading up to the famine of the word, which can be linked with this video here. So it's a lot of work that can be done. There's a lot of news that's going to be shared. And there's so much news that, hey, we can't cover every single topic, but that's the whole point of the body, because what brother's going over, another brother's going over the next topic, this brother's going over the next topic, and it's all daily news, and it's all lining up with the same prophecy. And that's what that means when you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 4, he says, now there are diversity of gifts, but the same Spirit, and there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. There are diversities of operations, but it is the same power which worketh in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, and to another the knowledge by the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another interpretations of tongues. But all these worketh that one, that self-same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. So we're all going to be on the same page, even though we're saying or doing, talking about different topics, because it's only one Spirit. And Revelation 19:10 says, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So we're all supposed to be really singing the same tune and sounding that same alarm. When you go to the Old Testament, when you sound that alarm, there was an alarm for gathering, and there was an alarm for gathering for war. So you have to be very distinct when you sound that alarm, so that the people knew how to arm themselves, or people knew what to expect. This is what you should be hearing, and we should all really be sounding the same. Like even this guy here who runs this channel, look at what somebody put on here. Somebody said your work since Monday on both channels has been brilliant. So this guy's putting in work. So how much more us? How much more the prophets? These people in the world are upset at what's being made, what's coming to pass. They're looking to resist, right? But we are children of the light. We are in the know. We know what's coming to pass. So when we should know the deal. And whoever you listening to, whatever Israelite you should listen to, should be speaking in the same spirit. They should be operating in the same spirit, which is the spirit of prophecy. This isn't the time for debates and let's sit down and debate and, see me at the next debate. Whatever, kind of foolishness is going on out there. If it's not teaching the prophecy and arming the people and sounding the alarm for people to be warned about the judgment that's about to pass, and about all these legislations that they're passing and what they're coming to do, then that just maybe show you that the spirit of the Yahweh Shem Yahshua is not working with them, because this is too much to be happening for you to be concerned about like yourself, or getting a debate for yourself to gather or garner views for yourself. This is the time to be sounding an alarm to alert the sheep. The sheep need to know everything that's happening. Now, in particular with that video, that's what made me think of Amos chapter 8 and 11 about the famine of the word. It said, behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. The goal, as he said, is to control the narrative. To control the narrative is to control the minds of the people. That's what they believe anyway. If the reason they wanted to get rid of TikTok is because they can't control it. That's why they're saying, so the moment anything popular becomes that they can't filter, they can't control, then they say, look, it's either got to go or you have to give it to us. They want to control the narrative because the agenda they have in store, it can't fully succeed with ease if they have people who are literally on the ground, boots on the ground. They can actually call everything that's happening from the inside. They can't deceive people. The only way they can deceive you is if they control the narrative. So the great persecution of controlling, right, of control is coming down the pipe. Eventually they will use force. It's in the scriptures. But their goal is to try to get as many people as they can to bow down willfully before they resort to force. But the force is coming. Make no mistake. It goes on, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, and shall not find it. Yeah, and that's going like into the internet. That's why we say the time is coming where you may not have access to the truth. You may not have access to this word. So this is why you got to get it now. That attitude of saying, I'll get to it when I get to it. The scripture says the doors of mercy, in so many words, are starting to close. As Sirach 5, verse 7, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord Yahweh come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance. So you got to get the word quick. This is the time to really lock in and just keep an eye on everything that's happening. These are very exciting times. I can barely keep up with everything that's happening, but that's the whole point of the body, right? So we're just watching it, and every video, every brother you listen to should all be saying the same thing. This is the spirit we're living in. This is where the scripture says, and those virgins heard, and what did they do? It says, Matthew 25, it's 6, dealing with the 10 virgins. It says, and at midnight there was a cry made, and behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose, the 5 that were wise, and trimmed their lamps. That means the word there, trimmed in the Greek kosmeo, to put in order, to make ready, to prepare, meaning they turned the flames on, they turned it up, they turned the heat up. We see that we're at midnight and we see the bridegroom coming. So this is what we're doing. We out here sounding the alarm to everything that's happening, man. There's so much that's happening. Okay, the wicked elite, they're moving fast because they know that their time is short. As Baruch 4, verse 27 says, be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto Yahweh, for you shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray from Yahweh, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. And there was a brother that said that the moment you come in this truth, especially now, just know you're behind, because time is short. The scriptures talk about Israelites is going to come in at the last hour, but knowing what times that we're living in, we really are at the end. And anything can happen within a month's notice, a week's notice. And they're trying to put an end to what? Teaching. Just like even on YouTube, right? They'll mess with your channel, right? And they'll say that if you want to gain back these features, then you have to submit a photo ID. You know what I'm saying? See, so they're doing this stuff to try to what? Control. So they can bring persecution upon the believers, which is prophesied that is going to happen. And that's why the book of Revelation is, especially the 13th chapter, is so important for complete understanding of the breakdown. And that's why the brothers is going into it. You have to understand that the Roman Empire is rebirthed again as America. And in the scriptures, the Roman Empire is known as the fourth beast. The fourth beast was prophesied to be the last beast reigning before judgment came. And we're living in those times now. So in Daniel chapter 7, when he talks about the fourth beast, he's talking about the Roman Empire, but is reborn again as America. Okay? And in the Daniel the second chapter, it's talked about the stone. It's talked about the feet of clay and iron, whereas the stone came and smote the feet, meaning he's at the last kingdom, which is America. Okay, he smote it. So that's how you know we're at the end. That's the next phase. The next phase is that we're going to be delivered. We're here, and in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, it tells you about that beast, that one that came up, a little one like a little horn, and he had two horns like a lamb. Those two horns represents your Democrats and Republic, whereas in the Roman Empire they were known as the plebeians and the patricians. It says two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. The reason they have the appearance of a lamb is because they give you the illusion that you have an option, that you have a choice, but they're all playing for the same goal. Okay, the same team, they're on the same team, and that's the illusion. People voting for Trump, people voting for this person, but they're all controlled by the same people. They're all pushing the same agenda. It's to keep you on board and to get you to fall in line, to pacify you up until they bring the martial law. And then it's too late. You don't have a choice now because they deceived you up until the end. Like I said, they're trying to soften the blow before they have to use force. And that's why I said it had two horns like a lamb, but it spake as a dragon. Everything they're saying is speaking as a dragon. They want complete control over you and your entire lives. And then it's going to go into the Revelation, the 13 verse 16, where it talked about the mark of the beast, and the mark being the RFID microchip. That's the final stamp. That's their final end goal. Okay. 2 Ezra 16. Verse 70, it says, "For there shall be in every place and in those next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord," meaning the believers. It's talking about us. You look up the word insurrection, it means like a revolt. It's like a militia group that decides to, on its own, go after a certain sect of people. And that's talking about what? The believers. All right, we who teach this word. That's why we say the time's going to come where the Lord's going to take the internet off, the truth off the internet. And we won't be able to go out there and teach, because we might be having to flee. See? It says, "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord." See? "For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire." Right? And that's why Yahushua said, when that day comes, the Lord is going to protect us. But some of us may have to get grabbed up. Some of us may even lose our lives. But that's why we have the testimonies of the prophets such as Peter and Paul, and how these men were locked up, but then the Lord made a way for them to escape. And that's how you're going to know who the Lord's chosen are. As Revelation 3. Let me see. Revelation 2 verse 10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." And 10 days can be any number of days. So we talked about the concentration camps. We talk about everything that's in this man's evil plan. Donald Trump, I think he just brought back the death penalty. They want to bring back the death penalty. They want to bring back public executions. This is Roman style, because this is the Roman Empire. We believe Donald Trump to be Nero in the reincarnation, which Apostle Hard just threw in there, that he could also be Julius Caesar. But either way, he's definitely a Caesar, one of the last Caesars. The public execution strikes fear in the people, going old school, right? Puts fear in the people, fall in line. You say anything they don't like, you have to be put to death. You try to speak against what we say, you have to be put to death. If they say everybody in the world needs to take a jab and you try to speak against it or you refuse, you need to be put to death. You refuse to take the microchip, you need to be put to death. This is the new world order that they plan on establishing. And it's only so long that the Lord is going to allow this truth to be accessible on the internet and on the highways and byways. Jacob's trouble is around the corner, man. And our job is just to sound the alarm and let the sheep know what the prophecy says and what time you're living in. This is us sounding that trumpet. And we all really supposed to sound the same. So if whoever you're listening to is talking about debating and celebrities and meeting up here, meeting up there, you don't need to be listening to them. Okay, but the scripture says that 2/3 of our people will heap unto themselves teachers having itching ears. The Israelites just want to be entertained 24/7. They don't want to believe that hard times are around the corner. They want to believe that the year is going to be fine and they're not going to be touched. Those are the ones that's going to hearken to themselves, the false shepherds. But when, just like the hirelings they are, the time's going to come where they're going to flee and be nowhere to be found, and they're going to be left out to dry. You don't want that to be you. All right, with that, shalom.